So lean back and enjoy.
Alright, so the first glitch I'm going to be talking about is the item jump. It's probably the most commonly used trick in all of Talos Principle speedrunning. Whoops. Basically, you take in an item like this jammer, anything you can pick up apart from fan for some reason works, and you notice how it has like this collision around it. Basically, if you come to a wall that's barely too tall to jump up, like if I jam myself in this corner of the wall here, and you can just place the item and jump at the same time to use that collision to give yourself an extra little boost. This alone might not seem too useful. Turns out, if you have a slanted wall like this, like the side of the tree here, you can get a lot of extra height out of it compared to just that short wall I went up the first time. And this just ends up completely breaking the game. There's so many places we can use this on. We just get everywhere. So a few things to note about item jumps now. Firstly, we have a bunch of different variants. The only one you should care about is Nozu's place and item place and pickup jump, which is just that. We call it Nozu's for short. You spend the name, you place and pick up the item, then you can take it with you to do whatever. The other more important thing is that these really depend on your frame rate. The higher frame rate, the higher you go. So notice roughly how high I go there, getting 250-ish. If I cap to 60, I'm getting like no height at all. If I go even lower, it's not really any better than a normal jump. But luckily the game's really well optimized, so it doesn't really matter. It's easy to get hundreds of FPS like I'm doing. Alright, so the next most commonly used trick in Talos Principle speedrunning is the cube jump. So firstly, note that if you try to grab an item like that connected across the barrier, you will slide towards it. If it turns out that the item is a properly aligned cube and you jump onto it at the same time though, you get that, a cube jump. Now cube jumps are affected both by player speed and by frame rate. So that was on 30 FPS and fast player speed. If I switch to 60 FPS and slow, it will go a bit differently. There are a few other intricacies, but we won't get into them too much. We did recently discover a form of barrierless cube jumps. If you're familiar with the Talos speedrunning community, you'll already know that. But because they were discovered in the middle of our competition here, we decided to ban them just for fairness' sake. Then the very last thing would just be, you'll note I did those cube jumps at 30 and 60. And really the only three usable frame rates are 25, 30 and 60. 20 you don't really get any height more than you would by dropping the cube and jumping. And uncapped like I am now, I would just like to give a small demonstration because it's just a bit silly. You can see why this isn't really useful. Okay, so something I mentioned earlier is that if you have an open barrier, you try and grab an item on the opposite side of it, you will always slide towards it first. The reason for this is quite simple. If you have something like this jammer here, keeping the barrier open, the devs don't want me to be able to just pick it up and then move on to the next barrier and do the same thing and so on. So I have to slide to the opposite side first, just to make sure. But it turns out it's a bit of a glitch with it, the barrier glitch, because we're such creative people. If you stand in a kind of precise spot in the middle of the barrier there, you can just grab an item without having that sliding animation, but still being far enough across to get pushed to the other side of the barrier. This is also sometimes known as the jammer glitch, because it works best with jammers because you can just keep going and do it to any barrier. But technically it's a barrier glitch because you don't need a jammer. I did it with a connector there. In this case I could have any item on this button. If I line myself upright, pick that up and do the glitch. You can just keep going. You can see how in levels like this, with just a bunch of barriers in a row, this completely breaks them. Alright, so now I want to talk about guided jumps. So this is a guided jump here. You'll find them in lots of places throughout the game, usually on top of cubes. They just make parkour a bit easier for casuals. They have some interesting factors, such as, say here, there's going to be a beam in the way of my guided jump, but the game doesn't care. After long enough stuck behind it, it'll just teleport you to the end. Another interesting thing is that, while there are some predefined ones, if you get this cube to stand upright, you'll notice there's a procedurally generated one up here. That's what I'm trying to say, sorry. And these just happen everywhere in the game, really. There's so many of them. Then something else to notice, let me just get that cube out for something else later. If I start my guided jump from any menu, the bottom menu's easiest, I'll just slide across the ground instead. And now if I combine that with the fact that they teleport, whoops, let me use cheats to get this cube out. Normally when you touch a bit of a barrier like this, you will drop whatever you're holding, but if you have a guided jump from the other side of the barrier, you start the guided jump through the pause menu, we call that a guided slide. You can then use the item to block yourself and trigger the teleport, and then because you never touch this barrier, it never activates, I'm still technically inside the level if I reset, and it doesn't make me drop the item. Another interesting thing about guided sliding is if you have a fan, firstly a vertical fan like this, if you guided slide onto it, nothing happens, but if you guided slide and jump with the right timing, but it doesn't care if you press jump too much, so just spam jump and it's easy. Guided slide and jump, you just get shot all over the place like that. But if it turns out to be a wall of the right height in the way, you can get a guided jump on top of it and use that to break some stuff. Or if you have a angled fan like over here, the slide will shoot you off to one side rather than bouncing you back and forth. So when you use a guided slide to break out a cube, you still just call them, to break out an item, you still just call them guided slides for some reason. If you use them on a fan, that's a fan slide, and they're lots of fun. Alright, so now I want to talk to you about ladder glitch, which, as you might guess from the name and from our track record, is a glitch to do with ladders. So normally, normal people, when you see a ladder, what do? You walk up to it, keep holding forwards until you climb over. But turns out you don't actually need to do that, and I didn't even know this until we found the glitch actually. But you can only climb part of the way up the ladder, and you can back off and get off it. It's an interesting fact of this though, because notice when I back off it, I need to keep going backwards. The game needs to know which way is backwards for me. And it can't work this out if I'm looking straight up or straight down, because there is no backwards vector, so it just keeps pushing me down on the ladder. Now I see it pushes me down while I'm moving sideways here. I'll quickly hop off and clip into the ground here a bit. You can see there's just a slope which converts some of that downward speed into horizontal and pushes me back. If the slope were facing the other way, it pushed towards the wall, or if there were no slope at all, I'd just stay in the same spot doing nothing. Now what is this useful for? Firstly, to show that off, let me get it and fast forward a bit. Okay, this seems to be the steady state, so right here the ground beneath me is completely flat and I can't go any further. But I'm now all this way away from the ladder, but the game still thinks I'm on it, so I can still climb up it. Now in that case it wasn't much help, but if you go a certain distance away, about that far, you climb up the ladder instead, and land on top of this wall. Remember that these ladders have this sort of jump there to bring you over the wall, because you can offset yourself, that jump brings you to the top of the wall, and you can use that to really break some of these puzzles. Now there is one other factor to other glitches, which I'll show off now in C4. I think the only spot it's used ever really is right here, but it's something interesting about me to note. While I'm in the glitched state sliding here, I still have collision with stuff like this wall in front of me, but during that small jump at the end, you don't have collision and can clip straight into things. Again, it's only really used here, but it's kind of interesting, so I thought I'd mention it anyway. Alright, so I'm going to talk about one of the weirdest glitches in the game, door glitch. So, throughout the game there are these doors. Normally the way you deal with them is by finding a key like that one back there, solving the puzzle to get to it, and then you can just unlock the door, walk through it, go on to do whatever. Sometimes that's slow though, so we have a bit of a trick up our sleeves. Oops, we went the wrong way, but that command makes it so I can see all the collision primitives, including the door's hitbox here. So as you can see, there's just a big grey square there, and there is indeed a hitbox there that I can't walk through. But it turns out that for some reason, sometimes if you try open the door without a key, you get the door glitch, but the door just starts spinning like that. And as you can see, this is its actual hitbox, and standing on it, it's spun up here. It's really weird, we don't know why it happens. But what this means is, firstly, you can just jump straight through a previously closed gate. Sometimes it stops like that, we don't know why either. But so you can jump through a previously closed gate. I think I've ruined this for myself now. You can also use it to get on top of walls you can't normally get on. And the last thing, which is very subtle and takes forever to get set up properly, is that the hitbox actually moves. So if you wait long enough, it will eventually just be really far away from the door and you can walk straight through it. So again, one of the weirdest glitches in the game. It has its uses in a few places though.
Alright, that was the small glitch demonstration by Apple. Allow me to get the other commentators in here. I also need to switch to the right video. It's probably a good idea. Whoop. Oh my, spoilers! Ignore that. Anyway, I'm gonna get the other commentators in here. Hang on. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
There we go. So, chat, how is the audio right now between me and Ninja and Apple?
I guess we can speak
Yeah.
so that so
That
that
would
you have an
say
idea
something.
of our volume.
That would be nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the reveal stream.
I accidentally did a minor spoiler, and nobody noticed, and now everybody is panicking over not noticing the spoiler.
Neat.
That was pretty good. Calculated. All right.
Sounds good.
Any starting words?
Okay, so starting words. I will introduce the first run. So the first run we will be showing off is the Flood. The Flood is a map where they didn't do a great job at making sure you can't break it, and you can very easily you can very easily complete the game itemless, get to the end without literally doing anything but running to the end. You don't need to collect any sigils, anything. However, what we're doing here is collecting as many sigils as possible without unlocking items. Basically, there are some terminals throughout the world. There are 3 worlds, A, B, and C. And there is a terminal in each world to unlock a certain item. We're going to try to collect as many sigils as possible without unlocking said items, and then complete the game. The punishment, the penalty for a team that fails to collect a sigil is 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Just to make sure that if you screw up and you don't collect a sigil and you don't collect the maximum amount of sigil you can, you get pretty much screwed. And our runners for team platform, which is my team, is going to be Craft, so starting off strong. And then for team recorder, it's going to be Moose.
All right. Do you guys have your video version available and ready?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay. Are you ready for the countdown?
Yeah.
All right. Let's get started. 3, 2, 1, go.
So very exciting beginning, as you can see.
Yeah. For those who may not be aware, Craft is... Help me find the words, guys. How do you find words to describe this guy?
He's damn good.
Yeah, let's just, yeah. It is,
Still Nick and Nick.
I'm pretty happy I'm not, in Moose's shoes right now, so to speak.
Yeah.
He's actually going to be ahead at the start, for like a few seconds, and then and then he won't anymore.
You start with just a big item jump there. And the turret doesn't kill you before you grab the sigil, so it's all fine.
I think I am slightly off sync, but that shouldn't be an
Now
issue.
the routes diverge a bit.
Yeah. So what we do is just we collect these 2 sigils first, and then we get everything from this puzzle, which is called Citadel, which has a few very easy breakouts, and so it's pretty easy to do everything from here. But it's also reasonable to do the route Moose is doing. We just found it a bit faster to do things in this order, and this breakout Craft is doing over the fence. That one is not easy. Made it look kinda easy,
Yeah.
but it's not easy.
Briefly also skips the gate you need to solve to finish as well.
And, yep,
Goes straight into the next one.
Usually you need to like solve the gate, but jump over it. And
This
so
is interesting.
World B is a fun level because you can jump out of bounds and below the puzzle, and then you can hop up above ground again. And so we can use that there to collect those 2 sigils.
Yeah.
Here we will actually interact with terminals because we need to talk to 2 of them to open two gates, which we will need to collect. Yeah, we need to collect a star and leave the world. Those terminals allow us to do that.
So Moose is going through the terminal now, while Craft starts some interesting jumps.
Yeah, Cerberus the Gatekeeper is the puzzle where you kind of do everything in this world, because it's the only one where you have a jammer that you can use to get on walls and actually do things.
Yeah, jammer is unlocked by default, so it's allowed.
Yeah, see. I didn't say that because it's no item unlocks, but jammers are always unlocked, so...
Moose unfortunately taking a diff there.
Yeah, Moose is doing a funky strat for that sigil.
And
Recommended. And we have some, we have some 15 FPS fun time on Craft's side.
So frame rate like just affects everything, and it lets them clip through stuff here. I don't really know how it works.
Well, yeah, well, you just kind of squeeze through cracks at low frame rate, so that ends up working out really nicely there.
Yeah.
And then we just pop back in bounds inside this puzzle, collect the sigil, and we're done.
Yeah, Moose is going to do the same jammer breakout, but a bit less interesting strats.
Yeah, he's going to just use the jammer from
It's
outside
really
to
nice
make
and clean
solving
though,
possible.
actually.
Yeah, make some good parkour. So Kraft is onto the last world. He'll be. This is the one world where we actually cannot collect all the sigils. We have 2 stars that we cannot reach. So you will see him just ignoring those entirely. We need to do a pretty unfortunate bump jump to get onto the walls, and there's like a million different ways to get up these walls.
Yeah.
And Kraft has chosen that rock. But we will see if Moose does something different.
So bump jump is basically in the name of the game, you bump into it and your jump goes a lot higher than normal. Moose is choosing to do one at 15 FPS, I think, off of the stairs there.
Yeah. That jump is something we did not find, and I actually don't know how difficult it is because I've never tried it.
It's worse than yours, I can tell you.
Okay, good. And yeah, this is what I was talking about before the run. You can just jump around those gates and
Yeah,
to pretty much
end of the game's right
get to the
there.
end of the game. Yep. And there it is for Craved.
Yep, 519. So, I guess after this run would probably be a good time to talk about the timings. Because I have,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
on the
there's-
screen you see 2 timers. They are RTA timers, but we're measuring in-game time. So it's a little bit,
Yeah.
well, we'll go over that.
Moose is just going to be doing mostly the same strats. A few different ways to hop around those gates, I think, but mostly the same thing.
Fortunately, we came up with some new strats right before the deadline, so we didn't have a lot of time to get a good run.
Yeah, he jumps around that when you can literally just climb upwards and then drop down. I'm not sure why Moose jumped around there. Like, the second time is totally unnecessary.
Moose in chat right now. There we go. That was time for Moose.
That was the flood.
Okay.
Alright, so a little bit about the timing. As a general rule, to make the playing field equal, all the runs are timed in in-game time. Of course, there's no practical way for me to do that on the screen, so the screen timers that you see are RTA. But next to the names, close to the bottom of the screen, we will put the in-game time. However, it turns out in-game time was not available for Craft's run and Moose's run, so we just decided to ditch that and go with RTA for that one run. Also because the RTA seemed to be very close to the IGT, and it didn't seem to make a significant difference.
Yeah.
But in all the other runs, the timer that is running on the screen will show RTA, but the final time next to the participant's name is going to be in in-game time.
And that final time is what judges the winner in the end.
Yeah. Alright.
Okay. So, the next map, if you want to talk about it, Apple.
Okay, so it's data backup. The way this map normally works, it's just one big world actually, with a bunch of puzzles in it. You go around solving the puzzles to collect some green sigils, which let you free a robot who helps you collect the stars to finish the map. Normally, you're not supposed to be able to collect these stars without the robot, though. We decided for the category, all you need to do is finish that final puzzle, so if we can skip stuff, you don't need to get any of the greens, do you?
Yep, indeed. And also, they're bringing it up in chat. There are a ton of invisible streamers throughout this map. Some levels don't have them, and that's the ones where you will see us probably abusing them more so than the others. But all in all, it's very difficult to do what you want because there is just a ceiling preventing you from doing that. And so we will see how we get around it.
You go ahead.
Yeah, we will see how these runners try to get around this difficulty,
Yeah.
and you will see them. You could see them walking on seemingly nothing, but actually just invisible ceilings on the upper side. So
Fortunately, ceilings are only on the maps you don't want there to be a ceiling to either. It's annoying.
All right, have you introduced the runners?
Yeah,
no.
should be good to go.
Okay, it's Werfel on the left, and it's Nozu 86, also known as Ipapuj, apparently.
Yeah, Ipapui.
Oh, yeah?
Pui. That's how you pronounce it. I've learned that from Nozu himself. I mean Ipapui himself.
Okay, Ipapui. Okay.
About the naming, by the way, we decided to go with the names on the scoreboards being the same as their handles on SRC. So, just
Yes.
for making things easy, because certain people have multiple nicknames and stuff. So, just to simplify it and not
Yeah.
offend anyone, we just went with the SRC names.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys ready? You have your videos ready?
Yep.
All right, countdown will commence. 3, 2, 1, go.
There we go.
And
So,
immediately the paths
so-
diverge.
different.
Very different. Nozu is jumping on some statues apparently, while Werfel is doing things with connectors, and you will see soon enough what those things
Here's
allow
that
us to do.
invisible ceiling already.
And yes, Nozo is walking on an invisible ceiling.
So Earthfall was going for this cube here. It's the only convenient cube in this map.
And yep,
Unfortunately, it takes forever to get to.
it takes a bit to unlock the barriers to access it, but cube jumping is broken.
Yeah. And using that, you can get straight to the star on the back of that lift, which has no items in it. So it's basically required.
Those with the flight strats. Yeah. That was the very first thing I reacted to when I started watching through these videos, was the invisible ceiling movement.
Yeah.
So we're going for another cube jump to collect the star that Nozo collected at the beginning, and yeah. While Nozo goes for the far star that Werfel collected already. So you can see Werfel doing the same setup again and again, just because we need to cube jump a number of times.
Yeah.
So this is where the routes actually are going to diverge a little again.
Even more.
Because we will guided jump, we will guided slide this jammer out of this puzzle. We already collected the star inside, so we can just take this jammer and leave. While Nozo has other plans.
Yeah.
So we will be just bringing this jammer around, touring all the levels and collecting the stars inside with the help of a jammer. But Nozo is doing some funky things inside, like that jump right there. And he's actually going to break out the jammer from this middle puzzle instead of the one you saw at the start.
Yeah.
And so,
This jump isn't easy.
yeah, and you can see Werfel entering this puzzle called Light Lock. Well, no, my bad, that's not called Light Lock, that's called Multiple Conditions. And this puzzle is the reason why you absolutely have to break out a jammer, because there is no other way to collect this if not with breaking out a jammer and guided sliding it in. Because that
Unless you want to do
barrier.
intended.
Well, no, yeah, okay, you would need to collect all the green sigils. That is not fast.
Yeah,
So
not
you
at
pretty
all.
much have to break out the jammer, and you can actually break it back out. So you can see him adding to the last puzzle now. Well, Nozo is also working on multiple conditions.
The last puzzle is 2 different solutions again.
Yep, we have different solutions as well. We just jam one barrier and open the others with things inside the level, while Nozo will break in the jammer and jammer glitch a bunch.
There's now all we've left to do to solve the final arranger.
Yep.
Unfortunately, not using the efficient solution for it.
Yeah, we're not using efficient solutions all that much, so guess we lost time or something.
This is an
But
interesting strat here
yeah,
now, though.
this is very weird. Pay close attention to what happens, because it's not. It looks like a barrier glitch, but it's not quite a barrier
This
glitch.
is like a new glitch, basically.
He placed the jammer on the other side after being half clipped inside the barrier. So that's quite unique.
Yeah.
Certainly something you expect from Nozu of all people.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that was data backup. It's a quick little map. It's not too much to say, but we got to see how different routes played out, which is cool. And I think neither route is completely optimal. You could be doing faster things for both. So that's always interesting to see. We can, if there's nothing else to say, we can move on to the next map.
All right. Go right ahead.
Okay.
One of you needs to introduce these things. You know much more about these maps than I do.
Sure. So the next map is Schrodinger's cat. It's one very, very interesting map because they go for... So, Moose Moose has described it as sometimes it's brilliant and sometimes it's absolutely god-awful. And that's very much true casually, but also for the speedrun. It's a very long map. It has 6 worlds, and then an extra kind of bonus star world, if you want to call it that, but there's no puzzles in it. So, what you need to do is, we're going for 100%, so you have to just collect everything. But some things are not easy to collect at all, and you will see us kind of scrambling for some whatever somewhat fast solution we can find, even though nothing in this map is really fast. Like, literally nothing is really fast. Yeah. And we actually have some very good players playing. We have Mega Talos Speedrunner, also known as Cyro, but for all intents and purposes, we will call him Mega Talos Speedrunner. Versus Exodasher, and Exodasher has the old Sigils record in the main game, and Mega Talos Speedrunner he just has every other record pretty much. It's either Craft or Exodasher or Mega Talos Speedrunner.
Yeah,
so.
I visited Mega Talos Speedrunner. Let's just call him Cyro. This is difficult. I visited his SRC page earlier just to look at what records he has. And I just kept scrolling past gold medal after gold medal in the Talos Principle in all the meme categories and all kinds of crap.
Yeah.
He has so much gold on his page, he could probably buy a country.
Yeah. But Exodasher is definitely a very strong player as well. Holding the current Old Sigils record, which is arguably the toughest one. So.
In under 40 minutes. Which is insane.
Only sub 40 time in all sigils. So yeah, we will talk more about the run itself as it plays out.
The other thing to note quickly though is that we also decide it has to be best ending, not just.
Oh yeah, the best ending. It honestly doesn't change too much, but you have to enter the Star World and free a cat, and then you also have to get Yodine and Shrimps. For your cat to survive, and so that's the best ending, and don't question it.
It's like a line of dialogue difference between them, but we decided you had to.
Yeah, you're going for 100%. You might as well.
Yeah.
So best ending, Schrodinger's cat. We can get started.
All right. Just to double check with you guys, you are using the individual run videos, right? Not the.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. All right. Ready for the countdown?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. And we're off. And immediately you can see the cropping is all wonk. Not much I can do about that. That has to do with one of them running in 4.3 and the other one in 16.9.
Yeah, that kind of happens.
This is another.
So yeah, this is an introduction. yeah, some unskippable cutscene at the start just
You
because
might have seen the chat right away.
Yeah.
That's
So
like the whole
right off the
story.
bat, different strats for World 1.
Oh yeah.
Exodasher is going to unlock the cube immediately. This map also has terminals that unlock items, but we are actually going to unlock them all here. So, while Cyro is going for immediately collecting some sigils, and so there are some mistakes in both runs in the World ones. Not dying to that mine though. Dying to that mine is intended because you have to do something that resets your checkpoint, and dying
And
to a
gives you
mine,
days.
yeah, and dying to that mine does that. Because if you just reset checkpoint after unlocking the cube, it won't memorize that you have unlocked the cube, and it will permanently lock you away from the cube. You won't be able to use it, which is
Would be
bad.
very bad. Yeah.
So you can see Exodasher going for a cube jump here, which is quite different from what we do, but apparently they found it to be fast, and it's worked out for them so far, because it actually was fast. But yeah, we have cube as well now, so Cyro will be going for this side of things, while Exodasher cleans up the scissors that Cyro got at the beginning.
Let's jump on the statue here.
And Cyro there dropped down and then missed the star and got blown up by the mine. So that was costly. Exodasher is actually going all the way around, helping himself up with a cube, like the sigil. And yeah, Cyro is now going back for the star that he missed earlier. So not the cleanest World 1 from either.
Yeah.
But a World 1 nonetheless.
There's also very, very mild exto commentary in the background in your right ear. Sometimes you might notice. I've tried to tone it down so that you can still hear a little bit of game audio, but it's not going to overpower. But anyways, enjoy that smooth voice whenever it happens.
So again, yep. Exodasher is going for the fan unlock as soon as possible. While we're collecting the first puzzle, Halloween first.
I think we actually do this in every well get the item first thing.
Well, yeah, probably. So yeah, for unlocking the fan, you have to solve that puzzle, which just says go back and write lol on the gate, and then come back to the terminal. So you have to do that.
You'll see Cyro do it in a second too.
Yep. In case you missed it. So Exodasher will now be going for a cube jump.
Not quite yet.
Oh, well, he changed his FPS to 60, but later, I guess. So yeah, that was the LOL, and now we have fan. You can see Cyro will do an interesting strat here. You can actually just kinda ignore everything and jump over this fan, then remove it, and then you can just ignore the turret before
walking in there, but they don't care.
So Exodasher is going this weird parkour, but it will get him to that sigil with a cube in hand, and that's very nice for him because he can now use that to cube jump. While Cyro is doing, bringing both a cube and a jammer to help himself up this door. Isn't necessary, but on lower frame rate especially, it's kind of helpful. And he will grab the star now.
Oh boy, this guy with science.
And yeah, Exodasher had some trouble, and you can see him falling behind significantly compared to Cyro, who will now be heading into World 3.
World 3 is very interesting.
Finishing up too. Yeah, World 3 is... Okay, so the main thing about World 3 is that right near spawn, there is a sort of like just a building with a star on top, and you need to power a fan with one red power and one blue power. And it's really not easy to get those things there, no matter how much you try to get on walls and break things.
All the stuff is really far away too.
And you will see how both teams handle that. So right now they're both unlocking the connector. it's just literally a math puzzle, which you memorize the solution to it and
Yeah.
call it a day. So Sarah will be solving this puzzle. Gap. Gap is a bunch of stuff you need to do, and a fan you need to collect and bring, and then power to elevate up to that sigil. But thankfully, they invented cube jumps, and and you can use them to just fly to the sigil,
Yeah.
which is nice. And you can see Extra
Dixter's
Dasher doing
gonna
the
be
same.
doing slight
A slightly different setup, but basically the same thing. So we click that lever to turn off a turret here and get this connector, and we will start setting up connectors for that star I mentioned.
Dixter's gonna
But
do
you can see
something
Extra Dasher
different
doing
though.
something much different.
I guess we
That's
didn't explain this in the tutorials.
we did not. This is an infinite plane cube jump. Without getting too far into the details, just live with the idea that sometimes you don't need to be right next to the barrier to cube jump.
But this
Sometimes you
is
can be
not a
bit far out.
barrierless cube jump, which we banned though.
Yes, that's not barrierless. There is a barrier. It's just you can't see it. So yeah, Cyrus spent a bunch of time setting up some connectors, and he will be picking those up again from in a bit when he gets back to the main hub. But you can see Extra Dasher
straight in.
Yep. You can see Extra Dasher will be doing something different. Well, Cyro is getting these connectors lined up. So that's the blue power source, and we'll get the red from the other side. But Extra Dasher will just be doing another infinite plane cube jump, incredibly difficult to line up, but he nails it. So they pulled ahead a lot, because setting up these connectors really takes a ton of time.
Yeah.
And
Cyrus to walk all the way back to the puzzle.
yeah, we have to run back to the puzzle, which isn't too much time. It's like 12 seconds from my timings, but it's still significant.
This puzzle's another one that takes a bit to set up properly.
Yeah, you have to grab the connector and then power the fan, the gate, and then wait for that to open.
Sorry, does something different to Extra here.
Oh yeah, Extra just resets
my
and we
team noticed there's an elevator.
Yeah, no one on your team noticed the lever literally right there to climb back up, and so Extra restarted checkpoint. We didn't.
Open everything again.
But yeah, this is a strat that just you infinite key. Well, not infinite, I guess, but like you just cube jump on top of the structure and drop the cube down so that you can cube jump again later. You can see Extra in chat.
Yeah. So the Extra goes now the long cube jump to the next level.
Yeah.
Sorry,
this is
doing that too.
Cyro will be cube jumping to the next level. Except, oh no, he failed, and that's quite a big time loss, and you will see Extra Dasher pulling ahead a lot here, as Cyro just has to set up everything again to retry the cube jump. So you can just follow. Now that you have fan, you can go to the second island and access the last 3 worlds. And World 4 comes first. World 4 is perhaps one of the nicest puzzles, one of the actually easy to break puzzles.
Yeah.
You just take a connector, PJ over the fence, and you have your sigil. But World 4 actually has one of the more interesting strats too. So to unlock recorder, you don't have to actually interact with a terminal. There is a ghost recorder of sorts, and then you have to click on it and wait for a cutscene. And if you do it intended, you are trapped on the ground while the cutscene is playing, and you have to watch all of it, and then you can walk again. But you can see Extra Dasher will just be well, he fell off because he is absolutely terrible. But but you can see that he will actually be clicking the recorder from the higher part of the wall. And then that will trigger the cutscene while he's able to walk around and do other things, such as collecting these sigils, which we need.
Something else
There's
interesting about this world is paint.
Oh yeah, paint. So there is paint in every world actually.
Yeah,
The
it
creator
takes a bit
placed
to unlock.
paint. Well, no, it's always unlocked. It takes a bit to access.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's in very, very unusual places in other worlds. But in this one, it's actually convenient enough that you can get it just fine.
So
And
paint
it
is
helps
just
in...
an extra item, which is really good at item jumps for some reason.
Yeah, paint is essentially just an item jump tool. And you can see Exodasher going again, using it to paint jump in this corner and collecting, what's this called again? Teeter something? Teeter board.
No idea.
It's called Teeter board. I know Citro's names. Yeah, and then he will be... This puzzle is incredibly complex. Teeter board
Yeah.
is absolutely majestic. It's gigantic. But we just jumped over it, and right now we're just doing some things inside to set up our cube jump.
Sarah's been
And you
doing
can see
basically
that
the same stuff so far.
Yeah, Sarah has been doing similar, just screwing up a bit more, which is unfortunate. But you can see that X is just ignoring turret fire right over his shoulder. And
Yeah.
yep, apparently you can just do that. The turret isn't quite programmed right to hit you. You can sneak under that corner. And your cube jumps, yeah, I kind of took that for granted, but the Sphinx doesn't have collision above.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you can just cube jump above it and clip in.
Yeah, you can
And
see
you'll
Sarah
see, yep,
doing all the
Sarah
stuff
will
to
be...
disable the turret.
Sarah hasn't collected teeter board yet, and he will do it with a fan slide here rather than a paint jump,
Yeah.
which is what Exodasher did.
Exo's often World 6 by now.
He is often World 6, which is one of the more trivial ones.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just basic item jumping and things. So FOA, basic parkour. The first puzzle, also kind of basic parkour. But he will be doing a cube jump here, which took me by surprise, and you will see why later on when you see our strat. But they are doing a cube jump apparently.
They're actually like pretty similar times for both our strats.
Yeah, I think this cube jump isn't too slow, but it's convoluted. Like, it's not the first thing I would think of. It wasn't, in fact, the first thing I thought of. But yeah, World 6 is very short, only 3 sigils and a star, and they're all on relatively break. So just place a cube in this corner, jump up, and that's the last sigil collected for Exodasher. So
There's still World 5.
Cyro, all of World 6 behind.
Oh yeah.
Exodasher enters World 5.
World 6 is just closer than 5, so you run there first.
Yep, you do 6 before 5 because it's more for movement. So World 5 has a lot of these trees, which you can use to PHA, and that tends to come in very convenient. Exodasher is immediately going for a sequence of PHAs.
Didn't quite have the frame rate for the base strat.
Well, the best strat is not exactly FPS intensive, but
The best strat our team found.
Oh, there was a better strat that was FPS intensive? Well, we didn't find that either, so this is equal and even. Carry on. So yeah, he brought a connector outside so that he could just do that twice. You will see that Cyro will do something different. And Cyro just now, you might have missed it, but he just jumped around the turret fire using a cube. He didn't have to cube jump at all. You could just walk up to the turret and just kind of jump around. Most of the turret ranges are not too well programmed in this map.
Yeah.
So Exodasher will be trying to land on this statue. Not too difficult. And just parkouring across for this sigil.
He walks all the way around when he could have jumped the gap, but...
Yep. And you can see Cyro is actually doing something else, using a recorder, the inferior item. Shameful. Truly the worst strat we use in this run. To get to this tree and using the jammer to get on the walls twice, which probably X-Dasher saved a bunch by having that connector outside. And X-Dasher is going to cube jump for this one, which is called Domino. There used to be a much nicer strat existing, but the creator actually found one of our videos and patched it out. So that was
Half
quite
these runs are
unfortunate.
probably patched now.
You think the creator is watching a live stream and
Obviously.
catching us as he goes? That would be amazing. But yeah,
Exo is onto trying for the ending now.
Exo is onto the ending. The ending has quite some puzzle elements too. As Cyber goes for the domino cube jump. There is a recorder which you need to use, and to access the Star World, you have to solve this puzzle called Schrodinger's Cat, which is the same name as the map overall. But there are obviously we don't do the puzzle. Obviously, who does puzzles in this game?
This
No
game has
one.
puzzles.
This game, yeah, this game has puzzles, and so you can see that X-Dasher will have a fun way to skip it. Not really fun, but cube jump for Cyro, by the way, on the other screen, different strat. But yeah, we just use the cube and the connector to let him jump in, and then we will need to do. Yeah, you cannot make it with just one, and so you will see him collecting the shrimp and the Yodine.
Just for best ending again.
And yeah, you will see him doing something fun when he tries to escape. So here is your cat. You saved it. Congrats, X-Dasher. Don't look at Cyber's screen right now. Just don't. Okay, so that gate is not lowered because we haven't solved the puzzle. But what X-Dasher apparently can do is he can bump jump using that part of the ground, which is insanely difficult. I actually just thought about it and tried this for like 5 minutes before saying, okay, no, this is not nearly enough height. This is impossible. But as it turns out, it apparently is possible. But
We had a
you can
completely different
see.
strat for that at first, but he just randomly did it and it worked.
Well, I guess he got lucky, because that actually saves some time. But it's also actually atrocious, so I'm not sure. You can see that we will do something different. Cyro unlocked the blue swords, which is a puzzle element, and he will not actually use blue power in any way.
Yeah.
But for some reason, if you unlock the blue swords, when you restart checkpoint, after exiting from this place, if you don't unlock the blue swords, you just reset in place, and it does nothing, and you're still trapped. If you do unlock the blue swords, you will see where he resets. And
so Cyro didn't realize that in the cat world, holding X will save that you've actually saved the cat rather than the reset, which won't. So
yeah.
walk through it slowly.
But yeah, that doesn't really matter too much because you just save the cat first and unlock the other two things after, so it doesn't end up mattering much.
But yeah, now here, just because he unlocked the source, he was able to come here and finish like this. A bit slower next to it still.
Yep. So, that was Schrodinger's cat, and a bunch of mistakes alongside different faster routing for X-Dasher ended up being a 1 minute 30 difference, which is quite big.
It's the biggest so far, right?
So there's still...
yeah, on a single map, it's the biggest so far.
There's
so
still hope for
Team
Team Recorder.
catching up.
Yeah.
Only 20 seconds back. And the two big guns of Team Platform, Craft and Mega Talos Speedrunner, are gone. So
It's getting tense. 2 runs remain. Oh man.
Next map.
Next one.
Apple, if you want to talk about it.
So this map's the 4th dimension. It has 2 worlds with basically the same puzzles, one set of remixed and made into nighttime instead though. The category is 100% no fan slides. And
Yes, we ban fan slides because fan slides break this map. They are, if you have enough FPS, you can do some fantastic fan slides that just win everything for you.
too much is
Yeah.
bad, too little is bad, whereas usually it's just too little is bad.
Yep. It's just kind of bad to run this with fan slides.
Yeah,
So we decided to ban it, which makes for a more
fairness.
interesting run. And you can see that Gally and Theos will do something very different. Because, well, I guess not overall, but there is no like obvious route. There is no like World 1, World 2, World 3. There is just day and night, and day has a left side and a right side, and the same for night because it's just mirrored but
Yeah.
at night. And so there is a lot of options with what things to do first and what things to do last, and how to actually
Gally is known
progress.
for having.
Gally
has
is
a
known
lot
for
of
having.
frame rate.
Gally is known for having ridiculous frame rate, and
Theos a bit less so.
Yep. And so we chose this map because we found some things. Probably. No spoilers, but you can guess that we slotted Gally into something FPS intensive just because it's Gally. Exodasher's voice should be in this video, but even quieter, so it's probably unhearable.
Yeah, and I'm turning him down even further. So there's going to be very little game audio in general during this run. Sorry.
Okay, so try to keep up with both players, or just choose one and stick to it, because it's going to be wild.
I'm going to mute myself during this run and AFK. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Great.
Sure.
Yep. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Is it right here? You can see the fan that would break the game if we had allowed fans like it's.
That's one of the fans, but yeah,
Yeah.
the main fan. And you can see right off the bat different strats, use of inferior item, the recorder.
So there's a ladder glitch right here, which Theos is going to use to break half the map, basically.
But Gally just does this because he has the power of infinity FPS on his side.
You can just jump right over the gate.
Yeah, but it's not too much faster than just doing the ladder glitch repeated times.
Yeah.
And you will see Gally will actually do something quite smart here. So we'll see Theos is going for a far sigil on the further side on the of the map, but Gally is not going for that.
Oh yeah.
Gally we'll get that one later. So you can see he's already done with the right side for the start.
That key Gally's picked up. You have to solve the puzzle to get it, otherwise it just has no collision. And you need the key
you
to get
cannot
that style.
like do anything to get the key early. You have to actually open the barrier. So this map has this puzzle has a very neat PHA that you can use to get up the walls. This map does a generally good job at keeping you off the walls, but not good enough. There are still a few.
The same spot everywhere. Great.
Yeah, we have very similar spots for everything. And you can see on Gally's screen, this is where the routes really start picking up, because Gally will do something entirely different from what Recorder will do. So, jam that barrier, not necessary, but save some time.
I think up to here it's all the same for both.
Well, yeah, except that Theos collected an extra sigil. For the rest, we're doing the same things. But yeah, so you do all of that to bring all these items to this side, and then watch. He just deviates from the fan's stream and just flows on the wall, and that allows him to. That's not a fan slide. That's just holding S during holding A during the fan. And then he brought the platform to this area because the game intends you to bring two fans, but platform is the superior item, and unlike Recorder, allows you to item jump. And so you can use it to get the star, and also to use this tree and collect the sigil which Theos collected earlier.
Platform
and then again to make it over the gate.
Platform, yep. Keep the sigil solution as well. Don't have to use your greens. It's over. day is done, and you can see Theos trailing behind with semi-intended recorder threats.
Everyone is enjoying the platform strats.
Yeah.
This is so good.
So Kelly's off
So,
to the night world now.
Yep, this is probably one of the things most different between night and day, because there is an entire puzzle here. There is nothing in day, but there is a puzzle in night.
Yeah.
And Gully will just be... So, the downside of having too many FPS is that jump glitches become ridiculously difficult. And
The
so
walls
Kelly
get
will just...
really, really sticky.
Yeah. And so Kelly will just be taking this item and carrying it all the way back to this corner, and with some accuracy, up the wall, collect the sigil, and go on.
Theos is going for the star in the middle.
Theos got the fan and had to do the slow thing,
Yeah.
and now he's solving the puzzle gate too, because he didn't jump over it with a platform. So, mirrored map, same ladder glitch in night as well, and you can use this for angular delay. That's the name of this puzzle. You can use it twice actually, because you need it to get on the walls. This star coming up, there are a bunch of snake torches things on the walls, and you need to click 4 of them to get a star to spawn. And what we didn't know is that you can click them in any order, and so we went forwards and backwards a bit, just clicking them in what we thought was the correct order, but you can actually just click them in whatever
You see
order.
Theos do
And
it.
it still works.
Be like that.
Yeah, you will see Theos just click them in the order which is most convenient. But still, doesn't lose too
Theos
much
is
time.
going off to do something interesting now there. Kelly goes and does the same item jump.
Oh yeah, he does something fancy. While Gelly will be setting up also something fancy. 2 fancy things happening at the same time.
Yeah.
So Theos is clipping through that window at 15 FPS to get to a place and execute a certain glitch. You'll know it. You'll love it. It's door glitch. There is a star behind the door. You cannot item jump over this door for some reason. It's door glitch time. And while Theos struggles against door glitch, or doesn't apparently,
Just try.
this star inside enemy mine on Geldy's screen, there are 5 components to it. There are 3 buttons you have to hold down, and two connectors, 2 sources you have to power. And normally you would need to bring in an item from somewhere else, but as you can see, if you go on to 15 FPS, the game doesn't have time to register that you stepped off the button before actually noticing. And so the game doesn't realize that you're off the button, and he doesn't despawn the star, and you can get it before it runs out.
Time, so Theos is going to take an extra item for that. Yeah,
Theos, they did not find that 15 FPS thing, and so Theos is going to have to bring an extra item.
He's also doing parkour here instead of Gelly's item jump.
Yeah, he's going over there from the ladder glitch level. So this is the last green sigil for Gelly. Just 1 jammer glitch away, and you can see that it has to be very careful because it's not easy, but it's only 1, so he's fine. And then all that is left for Gelly is the last star. You can see him taking a different path entirely from a different puzzle entirely to the door. Meanwhile, Theos is carrying over the connector and making it through the crack, and finally
Due to his frame rate, this jump here in the night world for Theos was really hard actually.
Yeah.
As you can see him
At low frame
failing
rate,
it
it's very
many times. Gelly misses up getting under the door.
Gelly, is having some trouble with slipping under the door or over the door. I don't know what he's trying to do. Probably over it since he's jumping, but...
I mean, the door is a bit taller than most, so you can make it under.
Yeah. But yeah, it took him a bit. But there we go.
A lot less clean than Theos is.
Yep, Theos had a cleaner door glitch, but I mean, it's door glitch.
Yeah.
But there it is. Galley has finished. All hail the power of ridiculous FPS. And Theos is still struggling to get all of these items sorted out inside this level.
So
All of
again,
the
here he's
5
going for the
components.
fire star. Yeah.
Mhm. Some jammer glitches here as well. You can see they went for the same. We went for the same blue connector placement at least, which I guess it says something about how smart we are. I guess I don't know. It says something. I'm not sure what it says, but it says something. And there it is, with an extra connector, 5 parts. Star collected, die to the mine for good measure to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think he has just. Oh no, he has 2 sigils left still.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of the ones from this map probably. Yeah, jumping across for this one for some reason. Curious.
Well, the special here that's actually a much nicer strat we both knew about. Well, much faster, not nicer strat. You can land on a pillar and skip all this jammer.
Oh yeah, that one was found a long time ago.
Yeah,
Because
no
this
one
map
liked
is
it.
actually, yeah, it's absolutely terrible. So you kind of just attempt it, but you never get it in a run, and you
Yeah.
just have a jammer for safety. It's completely unfeasible to attempt that and like rely on it in RTA
Especially if
runs.
you're already doing door glitch.
Yeah, door glitch is already inconsistent enough. But yeah, Theo's finally done.
And there we go.
946. All praise the FPS Lord Galley.
Oh man. Yep. So, as you can see by the time, there's a little bit of discrepancy here. About 2 minutes.
A 2-minute discrepancy. Will Apple, the team captain, be able to make it up? Or will he die? Will he lose? Let's find out in the last race. So, we had issues with some people had trouble and couldn't submit the run in time, and fortunately it was one person per team who struggled. So what we did was we subbed ourselves in. We did not plan on this because we just wanted to chill out and route memes, but we just had to step in, and so we just put together these runs in like 4 days, and
Yeah.
they happened, and both of the people who couldn't submit runs happened to be like Slaughter in Rebirth originally, but as it happened, we just have to face off against each other, and
Probably the map to do it on too.
yeah, probably the map to do it on, because this map
You'll
is
see
actually
later.
built by Moose Moose, so it's probably the closest map for the map in the speedrunning community that got the most interest. And we
Yeah.
will be running 20% 60 FPS, which is quite the interesting category because 60 FPS bans a lot of things, most
Well, it bans
notably
all the other frame
well,
rates.
yeah, it bans all the other frame rates, which restricts a lot of things. And most notably, a certain cube jump, which was very handy at 25 or 30 FPS. We can't do that anymore. And so we will see very soon how we work around that. And it makes for a very interesting run. And there is a lot of cube jumping. You have been warned. I think it's quite fitting that the map for me and Apple is the one with the most ridiculous cube jumps, because it's 20%.
60 FPS in general gets a lot of cube jumps just because you can't do all the item jumps you normally could.
So, cube jump galore, Rebirth, 60 FPS, 20%.
For trading
Idiot
this map is
Ninja
bad.
versus Apple 1417.
Team captain versus team captain. Cube jump scientist versus sigil puzzle optimizer. Are you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, countdown will commence. 3, 2, 1, go.
So, nice initial cutscene. An axe.
Like how we were
Almost
perfectly in
sync.
sync.
Yep. Same strat for the beginning too. And
So the beginning, it's usually this long world, but turns out there's a back door which we both just cube jumped to.
yep. And I got a slightly bad cube because I didn't take a second to line it up properly. And you just kind of YOLO it and hope to get it quick, but
Yeah.
it is no
right
big
at the
deal.
beginning.
It's a second loss.
Straight away
And
we're
so-
going to different worlds.
Yep. I go to B, which is factually slower, and he goes to C. Why would I do something slow? Am I an idiot? Yes, but that's not the point. I go to B first because this cube jump right here is terrifying. It's absolutely the most difficult cube jump
Oh yeah.
anyone has ever done in a run. Because I'm pretty sure no one has done Obelisk, so this is pretty much the next worst. And I get it off first try. It saves so much time over the alternative, like 30 seconds. And so I do it first just because it would be stupid to go for it in the middle of
And
the run.
on
It would be
my
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
On your side,
I just did a bunch of jammer glitches at first, and I'm setting up for some other cube jumps in this world.
yeah, C is just a set of cube jumps, and one after the other.
B2 as well, really.
Yeah, B2 as well, but there is some differences. But yeah, both worlds have. In C, you have mental gymnastics with this cube, which is quite accessible, and in B, you have crevices, which is the puzzle I just collected right now, which also has fairly accessible cube jumps.
Yeah, he did an item jump there, which you can do without having to use 2 items uncapped. 60 FPS really restricts that.
Yep. And here, holding one team platform screen, boom, directly to the sigil area. Saves a bunch of time. Apple was still struggling with jammer glitches. So I failed to place the cube there, so I have to place it again and actually get the jump. And then here, I go for baby strats, place the cube down. You can make the jump across without using the cube, but it's difficult, and I do not want to lose runs after I get that first cube jump. So I kind of find a good balance of safe and fast for the rest of the run, because it's incredibly difficult to get runs
From
going.
on top of the level there, you can just jump straight down onto that sigil.
If you drop a cube outside, you don't have to do this with a cube inside, because you just gotta jump using the cube outside. But with precise enough lineups, you can get a guided jump like this and break a jammer out regardless. And you kind of need
my screen,
a jammer.
I went through. There you go, here.
Yep. So on my screen, you will just be using this jammer to clean up the rest of B. On Apple's screen, the far side of C has 2 puzzles, and you can cube jump to them, but it's a bit difficult to have some accuracy. And so Apple opted to just cube jump to cut on travel distance, and then just do some quick inset strats. And he will be adding to B now, so you can see him attempting the world that I just
We're
cleaned up.
basically equal with our first world, actually. And Ninja's heading off to C instead.
Yeah.
So we'll both end on A.
So yeah, you will see after we both leave our second world how quick we were. You will see the comparison.
I did a different cube jump for this level
Yep,
here.
Apple did not land in the sigil area, so yes, to do this slightly slower solution. And you will see me beginning mental gymnastics. I do this thing inside on the ground. Apple cube jumped, but it's not much different. I think the cube jump is actually a bit faster, but not by much. So you can see what I mean with Apple, who will drop the cube down here and pick it up later and get this jump in one. Yeah, on my screen I'm just again collecting all of the sigils that you can reach with a cube jump easily. And there is one where Apple did jammer glitches first. I think I'm collecting it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Cube
one
jumps obviously
Apple
faster.
jammer glitch all the everything, but yeah, you can just cube jump, and if you land short, you can just do that to get over the wall and collect it. So on Apple's side, he went for the far side first, so he's collecting all of these things, and then we'll see what he comes up for. What he comes up with for extended impossible ascension. I think exponentially.
Exponentially, yeah.
Yeah. Apple using the superior item right now, the recorder.
The recorder.
I flipped up the platform, I meant. Look at my screen instead of listening to me talk, because I just do a beautiful cube jump and land on the wall. And that is incredibly, well, not incredibly, but a bit difficult to land up. Definitely easier than the cube jump in EIA, though. And saves a bunch of time, though. And you can see Apple, this insane man, is attempting, well, not yet, my bad.
And
But
the
soon.
crevices.
He needs to get crevices first. But yeah, so I cube jumped again a second time to this little place. And
He's doing this
I will
from the
be...
walls rather than jammer
Yep.
glitches like I did.
And you will see me, I will fail this a couple times, because these walls are not... I'll get there.
Now on my screen though.
And now, yep, on his screen, in the middle of the run, like, literally the middle, he goes for this 1 in 10 trick. It's actually insane.
Save like the 2 seconds from the world routing.
Yeah, save
Totally
2
worth
seconds. He does this in the middle of the run instead. And you can see me pulling ahead for things such as the one flew. Yeah, only a few seconds. But the 2-minute deficit you guys had will be a bit difficult to make up.
Yeah.
But in A as well, we see some difference straight off the bat. You will see me trying to pick up this fan and eventually succeeding from above. Then you can just bring this fan to the end section of this puzzle, Bachromatic Entanglement 2, and collect that sigil.
Then
climb the ladder back up.
Oh,
Field of Mine. Yep. So, actually, this is something very fun. You will see there that I hopped off of nothing, seemingly, but that's actually some collision that Moose put so that players couldn't jump on top of that part of the wall. But if you up yourself up with the cube, you can actually jump on the collision, and so it does nothing, because you essentially can still just jump up. Yep.
So if it goes to the
Apple
jungle
is
here,
going for a very different route where he breaks out a jammer and uses that for these 2 puzzles. While I solved Bachromatic Entanglement earlier, and now I'm just doing George of the Jungle intended.
Radio relay should have.
Radio relay, which I got earlier from on top of the wall with a strat. He's getting now with intended, and then he'll set up a cube jump. On my screen, I'm entering the far side puzzles of World A, and I'm jumping up on that statue. Collect harmonic series
Unfortunately, I overshoot this cube jump.
Yep, Apple overshoots the cube jump, and he has to set it up again, and that's kind of a death sentence right there.
Something interesting here, though, if you notice, I connect the connector through a gap.
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned. You can, yeah, the
There's
gate
a gap there.
There is a gap, and you can use that. And yeah, but I stopped choking and collect the last few sigils in World A. Just simple item jumping for that side, really. I don't know why Apple does all of this
basically the
crap.
same strats for the far side.
Well, you use a cube jump for harmonic series, so I'm not sure about that. But yeah, with shaky hands and questionable puzzle solving,
Yeah.
I eventually finished this map.
This is a very interesting puzzle, actually, the bronze gate there. You can do without rotating any of the pieces. It's nothing else like that.
Okay, so don't look at my screen. Don't.
Just don't.
Just don't. Look at Apple, what a loser. He hasn't even started on the first thing yet. Haha. And there it is. Team platform, IGT, 44 minutes, 28 total.
Now, if you look at my screen, I actually do this properly.
Yeah, he actually doesn't spin things. Well,
Well,
oh,
almost.
that was a mistake. That was a
Yeah.
mistake.
Well,
GG's.
there we go.
IGT 4712. A sound beatdown. Well, this was a ton of fun to work on with everyone.
Yeah.
It was so nice to work with Kraft and Warful and Megatal speedrunner and Geldy. It's just seeing all the routes come up and like all the stress that we've missed and all the stress that you guys missed. Absolutely incredible to just see how it all plays out. And
Yeah.
if we can do this again with some other idea in the future, that would be amazing. Because this was very cool to just put together.
Yeah, I love being a part of this just as a technician and not really much else. Super fun to work on.
As a spectator.
Before any decisions are made on what to do next, what to come up with next, I'd say send Ninja all of your suggestions and stuff for improvements.
Yes. We want feedback.
Yeah.
All kinds of feedback. Just anything that you think could make a similar event in the future better and more fun to participate and more fun to spectate. Everything you can possibly come up with to make this more interesting in the future. We want to hear it. And if you have ideas for like even just the maps, like at the moment I'm thinking just doing really obscure categories for the main game, because that's still unrouted and still new stuff.
Yeah.
But
That's where we are going.
so like if you have any ideas for that, for example, that would be incredible. If you have anything about the format, anything about how the players are selected into teams, anything about whatever really,
Anything
just let us
about
know.
anything at all. Any
Yes.
thoughts on the production value as well? What can be done to make the information more clear, stuff like that? I would love that. Or ideas for how to format things differently, like from a technical standpoint. But yeah, just send them on Discord. I think we're all too tired to pay attention to chat anymore anyway.
Yep. And being on the winning side, this is nice. But I hope everyone involved on the losing side as well had fun, because at the end of the day, if you have fun, we're all winners.
Yeah.